Okay, so for those of you who think, oh, I'm not ever going to forgive that person because they did this, they did that to me, you're going to walk around with that brick on your shoulder for the rest of your life. And that's a heavy brick. It's not one of the ones you pick up, from a supply store. It's one of the ones that's a burden. It's something you carry. It's like the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it's serious. It's real. So learn to resolve things, issues that you have. If you can't, it'll be very hard to forgive someone, or even to be forgiven. Talk, listen. Don't listen to respond. Listen to learn. There's a difference. So if you can't do any of that, you're pretty much wasting each other's time. Life is a learning lesson. I can live to be 90, and I still won't know everything I would love to know or need to know, especially about women. So, and what I learned is the more you try to figure them out, the more you're gonna lose that battle. Stop. Just don't do it. Just pay attention. Stop trying to figure it out. Pay attention. She's gonna let you know what she needs you to know, and everything else is you just following suit by paying attention. Women, I have the same advice. Stop being so hard on men. We got a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot. Like it's way more than what you just see at home or when you're with us. It's things we deal with away from home when you're not with us. And those times we might need you. And for you to nag when you walk in the door, oh, why you this? I'm like, how that's gonna work? How is that gonna work?
That's true.
And now is you want to be forgiven for a mistake you made, but you're not really doing anything for that forgiveness to sit in. You're not if he comes home from work and you automatically blast him coming through the door and you were wrong, but you never say I'm sorry, or you keep saying I'm sorry for the same thing that you're doing over and over and over again, at what point do you expect to be forgiven again? Now, I know what the Bible says. How many times should I forgive my brother? 7 times. How many times should I forgive my brother after that? 7 times 7, and so on and so forth. Not to negate the Bible, but we're in 2021. That gets old at some point. Now, you can want to keep being forgiven, but what are you going to do to change what you did to have to be forgiven? You got to kind of think about the person as if you're in their shoes. We can't walk in women's shoes. Women can't walk in our shoes. It just doesn't work. So it's got to start somewhere. So really, in a relationship, you got to start with yourself. I'm single, and me and Bridget had the conversation yesterday. Why I'm single. I went through a lot of things when me and Bridget separated, and I'm still dealing with those things that I did as consequences. I had to pay for some things that I had done, and I'm still getting myself together. So why I'm not in a relationship is because I'm not stable enough to take care of me. And it'd be very unfair, even if a woman approached me, for me to give her the illusion that I would be able to, and I can't. So you have to learn to deal with yourself. Lock yourself in a room. Talk to yourself. Get to know yourself. If you don't, how are you going to make somebody else happy if you don't know what makes you happy? How are you going to be able to tell somebody what makes you happy if you don't know what makes you happy? Same thing with women. If you allow the man to think that all you are okay with is getting flowers and cards and some candy, that's all he gonna do. If you don't put an expectation on what you want, you're not gonna get what you want. You're gonna get what you allow him to give you. Sometimes you have to demand what you want. Not really give me this, it's okay, I'm not gonna accept that. So now he has to find a different avenue to figure out exactly what it is that you will accept. We gotta work. It's work. It's like when you go to work and clock in, you got to do 8 hours. You got to perform for 8 hours. When you're married, you got to perform for a lifetime. It's not just, okay, we did this 6 months. We good and it's okay. No, it's not. Because tomorrow's going to be different. Next month's going to be different. Next year's going to be different. She may wake up with an attitude one morning. You have no clue on what's wrong with her. But you think you do. But you're wrong because you don't. She don't even know what's wrong with her. So that's when you step back, let her figure out what's wrong, and then come to you and you listen. Don't talk or you cussed me out earlier. Where's the forgiveness in that if you've already started a situation out without listening? You have to learn to listen. That was one of the biggest things I learned in our marriage. We didn't listen to each other.
Yeah.
We just heard what each other said, had our own issues with it, got in our feelings about it, festered about it, and then 6 months later it blew up. We don't even know what we're arguing about it anymore. We don't know what we're mad at each other about anymore because there was no resolution. You have to talk. If not, again, you're wasting each other's time.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
So what does the Bible say about forgiveness? I'm coming. Let's look at Luke chapter 17, verse 3. Take heed to yourselves. If your brother sins against you, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. So simply what it's saying is if somebody has done something wrong to you and they're not, if they're not sorry for what they did, okay, rebuke him. You don't have to deal with that person. But when somebody has done you wrong and they are truly seeking forgiveness from you, you need to forgive them. It's not for us to count how many times we've forgiven somebody, because God does not keep a score of when we ask for forgiveness. And so many times in relationships, it's like I do premarital counseling, of course, because I'm now, a pastor. Premarital, I don't really do postmarital counseling, but I have done some. But, and I tell people all the time, when you are entering into a marriage, when you're in a relationship, if you're at that starting point of the relationship, how you want to start is how you want to end. My aunt said that to me when I married my first husband and when I married Jose, start how you want to finish. And I had 2 failed marriages because, well, my first husband, he just didn't want to talk, period. I timed it one time to see how long we could go without talking to each other. And we made it an entire month of not even saying hello or good morning to one another. It was like the most dysfunctional thing. Even my old mother-in-law asked me, does my son ever smile? Does he talk? And then she said, he was always my weirdest child. And I just thought to myself, like, wow, how did I miss that red flag? I can't say that there were red flags with you. I just think that we were in a different place and, we thought ideally, okay, if we get married, it's all of these things that we're dealing with individually will work.
Change.
Yeah, they'll change. And that's the biggest facade that, Satan uses to fool people. And then people get married and then they're fussing about stuff and going through things because they feel like, oh, that person will change. Oh, I can change them. Especially if you're a Christian and the person you're marrying is non-Christian. You feel like, oh, I'll just keep praying for them. I'll keep being good and they'll just change. And things don't work out that way. A lot of times we're dealing with stuff within ourselves and we're trying the best that we can, but we don't know how to deal with it.
Don't know any better.
Yeah, you just do what your parents did or what somebody in your family did or what friends did. And I tell people all the time, even though I'm Reverend Bridge, the church will say, just pray about it. Sometimes prayer is not enough. You need to go get some help. You need some tangible help. You need somebody sitting across from you, a counselor that can literally help you work through the psychoanalysis of what it is that you're dealing with. Yeah, look, black people, we hate to get counseling. If you need counseling, go and get it, whether it be individual or marital counseling or premarital counseling, okay? Because that's what those people have been trained to do, is to help you through your problems. So don't think that there's anything shameful in going to get counseling. I had to do some shadow work after my marriage with Jose. Am I perfect? No. I tell people I stand up in that pulpit right there every Sunday, and people have no idea the demons that I fight just to get into the pulpit, the things that I deal with on a regular basis, how Satan attacks my mind. I mean, it's not so much about the things that I do at this point, because like I tell him, I'm not really trying to do too much of anything that, God's going to be disappointed with me. But Satan does attack me in my mind and my mouth. My mouth is not as bad as it used to be, but, sometimes I say things that are hurtful and I don't mean to. And I'm constantly asking God to forgive me, even if it's things that I've said or done or thought that I wasn't aware of. I'm constantly trying to stay in that place of repentance. But, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're all on the same spiritual journey, just trying to figure it out and trying to be better people. But, I tell people all the time, how do you do the shadow work? That's like Jose said, go to a room by yourself. You got to go deep. You go deep within yourself. For me, my shadow work is deep meditation. I sit there with a black candle and I have a mirror right there, and I look in that mirror and I pray and I meditate until God has given me revelation of what in me is dirty, what in me needs to be changed. And that's just something that I do on a regular basis to help me deal with the ugliness inside of me.
Yeah. And so when I mentioned that part about locking yourself in a room, I didn't really have a choice. You all have a choice. You can go in the room, you can go in the bathroom, you can go in the shower and cry, but you need to take that time to yourself. I went to prison twice. Once for 18 months, once for 2.5 years. So imagine 4 years of your life locked in a room. And I was in prison when the pandemic hit. They locked everybody down. There was no out, there was no TV, there was no going to child, there was no none of that. There was no outside, there was no air, there was no sun. So you had to sit in this room in your head and think about everything from the day you can possibly remember up until that point. And it was one of the hardest things I had to do because I thought about everything. When I tell you everything, I think I remember 90% of my life sitting in that cell. Learn to forgive yourself first. One of the hardest things I had to learn to forgive myself on was missing time with my son. And that I'm still fighting with. So that part, I'm learning to forgive myself, and I understand the position that I was in, but I made decisions to take that time away from my son. I put myself in a position to take myself away from him. And out of everything I've done in my life, I ain't never killed nobody. I ain't never hurt nobody or nothing like that. But that was one of the worst decisions I had ever made, was to do something to take me away from my son. So again, that's that, me getting myself together. Another thing, if you can't be vulnerable with your partner, you're wasting each other's time.
Yeah, that's true.
You're wasting each other's time. If you can't open up to that person and tell them what you're really feeling and what's really going on with you, you're wasting each other's time. Because what's going to happen is everything that's bothering them, you're going to trigger somehow. You're going to trigger it somehow. Something you're going to do, something you're going to say. You might be with a woman who ex-boyfriend beat her every day. You might walk in the door and throw your hand up because you're frustrated with the world, not her. She think you finna hit her. Mm-hmm. So now you got to deal with that aspect of a relationship you knew nothing about. Be vulnerable with each other. If you could be vulnerable with each other, you put yourself on a less likely path to have to apologize or forgive or be forgiven. Be vulnerable. If you can't open up to that person and tell them some of your deepest, darkest secrets, not everything, but enough to get them to understand why you are the way you are, you're wasting each other's time. That's why I'm not in a relationship. Nothing against women. I don't hate women. I know some beautiful women. And then I can do for them.
If anybody's single and he's available.
No, I'm not. I'm only available to the Lord. So.
I feel you.
Yeah, I'm only available to the Lord. So
How does that look? His ex-wife trying to hook him on?
Yeah, so right now I can't. Maybe 5-10 years down the road, maybe, I don't know, but right now I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm trying to, and you have to be able to get to that point in your life where you can step back and say, no, I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
No, I can't take that time away from me right now. I need that time for me, because if I give you time that was meant for me, when I'm gonna be able to get that time back for me? Because now I'm focused on giving you at least 50% of the time that I can't afford to take away from myself. You should be able to do the same thing. If you can't afford to give me all the attention you think you deserve, that you want from me, and vice versa, no, you can't do it. And I wouldn't suggest that to anybody. Now when you're young, when you're 18, 25, and 30s, you can play around like that. You can play them games. I'm 40. When you hit over 30, 35, games is over with. Life get real. Life is real when you're born, but when you hit a certain age, life get real. One bad decision can cost you 10 years of your life. And I don't mean behind bars. It don't have to be in prison. It don't have to be in a jail cell. It could be right down the streets. One bad decision will take away 10 years of your life. Now you got to start all over. I lost everything 3 times. Everything. Clothes, tools, shoes, everything. Am I mad? No, actually, I'm less mad now than I was when I had everything. So material things don't bring happiness. Believe that.
Yeah.
I was homeless and was the happiest person you could have ever met. Why? Because I was still learning myself. I was still figuring me out, and I knew more about me living on the streets than I did when I had a roof over my head. I learned how to survive. I learned what I could and couldn't do. I'm not saying that a struggle won't make you or break you, but y'all gonna have to go through it at some point. So.
Yeah. I agree though with the vulnerability part. I mean, I always felt like, when we were married, that we were open and honest with each other as far as, things that bothered us from our past. Because, I mean, like Jose had challenges with his childhood. I mean, people thought that I had this picture perfect childhood, and I really didn't. It looked good from the outside, but it was really raggedy on the inside. We brought those things to our marriage because we didn't deal with them. I had dealt with some of the stuff, prior to getting married, but still a lot of the things were still there. They were still lurking because honestly, I didn't know how to deal with them. I had been to counseling when I was in my early 20s. I had gone to my spiritual father and asked him to do postmarital counseling on he and I, which he refused to do because he had stuff he was dealing with. And so that's all I'm saying. It's like, people think that the pastor or the minister has all the answers and that their lives are perfect. And they're not. We're just human beings that God has called. It doesn't mean that our stuff is perfect and that it's all worked out. It's not. We have stuff that we're dealing with. But I had respect for this particular person. I'm not going to call his name because he recently transitioned. But I had nothing but respect for him when he refused to do our postmarital counseling, because when he refused, I didn't understand, but he confessed some things to me and why he didn't feel like he was worthy or qualified to do our postmarital counseling. And it was because he was having marital issues, and because he had had marital issues in his first marriage, and they had impacted the church so greatly. So I had nothing but respect for him because he was just being real. So that vulnerability part, yeah, if you have somebody that you can't be real with and share the things that you may, like Jose said, you may not tell them everything, because we all have stages in how we deal with stuff. But if you can't be that true raw person with the person that you're with, then it's really just a waste of time. That person's not really gonna be somebody that's gonna be there for the long haul. I mean,
Or it's almost, and I liken it to this: when you do that, you effectively make yourselves roommates.
yeah,
When you do that, you effectively make yourselves roommates. Only roommates don't discuss things like that with each other. When you live with your sister and your brother, you grew up together, so you know most of the gritty details of their lives. But when you meet someone fresh off the streets, y'all start dating, and 3, 6 months, a year later, y'all decide to move in with each other, and y'all ain't at least started to sort out the skeletons in your closet. You're wasting time.
right,
Not gonna work.
yeah,
Not gonna work. You don't have to come in the house and say, "Oh, how this happened to me when I was 2." No, break it down slowly but surely. If that person can't listen to you, that person can't understand what you're saying, it's not necessarily a part of understanding. It's a part of reception. It's kind of like, how can I put that? You don't have to understand everything to be able to get that person. If you're dating somebody and you've been dating that person a year and they told you that the last person they dated raped them, you don't know. You've never raped anybody. You've never been raped, never seen it. Don't know anybody's been raped. And I'm going to just say this. It's funny how no man knows a woman that's been raped, but every woman knows another. So get to know each other. If that person can't listen to you and be sympathetic with what's going on with you, leave. Don't try to make it work, because you're looking for a roommate at that point. Yeah. You're two strangers living in a house tied to nothing.
and really, you're just stacking up stuff that you're gonna have to later forgive them for anyway.
because your anger is going to get the best of you in
Yeah.
the most simplest situations, and in the most smallest mundane things. So you leave a cup laying on the counter, y'all fighting for the next week. You didn't put the toilet seat down, you ain't talking to each other for a month.
Now you did leave toilet seat up.
Yeah, I did. I'm bad at that. I still do it. So if you and believe it or not, y'all know bombs is big, fuse is little. Don't take much to light it. That little fuse causes a lot of damage. Don't let the little things ruin something that you say you want.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah, don't let the little things.
The little things, the small things.
Right.
Mustard seed. That tree grow.
Yeah.
Acorns. Those Those trees live to be 300, 400, 5 years old, 500 years old. They started out that big.
Yeah.
So you can take something that big and make something this big out of it, make it great. Or you can take something this big and destroy a whole city.
Yeah.
It's up to you. But I don't know if it's something in the water. I think it's the water. I think it's the water. We got to get out of our own way. We in our own way, and it's still about forgiveness. If you can't forgive yourself, you will never, ever know what it's like to forgive somebody. And I think the biggest misconception of forgiving someone is not for them.
It's for
It's
you.
for you. Because you're gonna be. They don't care that you mad. They don't care that you carrying this burden around because they did something. They don't care. So you can call them and tell them all day, "Oh, I forgive you." They don't care.
Yeah.
So you gotta let that go, because they don't care. If somebody walked up to you right now, slapped you in the face, told you I was sorry, did it again, you gonna keep going for that? No, you gonna back up a couple times, right? They don't care. They don't care. So you never forgive somebody for them. You always do it for you, because you're the one carrying that baggage. And sooner or later, them wheels gonna fall off. You're gonna be dragging it. Then gonna be a hole at the bottom of your suitcase. Not all your luggage out in the streets. Everybody know what you got going on.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to forgive yourself first.
Yeah. And that's the problem. I mean, to me, the church is full of so many people that have not forgiven themselves and they haven't forgiven each other, whether it be, a romantic relationship, family relationship, work relationship, friendship, whatever. I see what I see from a spiritual eye. We have to forgive, period. Because, the Bible tells us we need to love God first, but we also need to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So how can we love somebody else like ourselves, but we haven't forgiven them?
And if you can't forgive yourself, there's a lack of love there.
Exactly.
There is a lack of love there, because you have to be able to love yourself enough to know what it is that you're forgiving. You can't just sit there and wake up and, I forgive myself. God, I'm ready.
Right. It takes work.
Yeah,
it takes work.
Because you still gonna deal with that pain. You still gonna deal with that hurt. You still gonna shed a tear about something. So it's gonna take some time.
Right.
It's things now that I can relate to or think about from when I was 8 years old, and will mess up my entire day. I was 8. I'm 40 now. Will throw off my entire day.
Same here.
So we're gonna be okay. When you pray, and I was told this in prison, because I had prayed a certain set of prayers in prison and certain things happened and it didn't quite go my way, so I was upset with God for a while. And I remember going to court, and this old man sat here and told me one day, he said, don't stop praying. And I was like, man, it ain't doing no good. He didn't even listen to me. He said, don't stop. He said, because you got angels that's on their way to you. They got to fight the demons that's trying to keep them away from you.
Yeah.
That's keeping them from getting to you. So wait. The whole song is true. It may not come when you want him.
But he's on time.
He'll be there right on time. You don't know what that time gonna be.
Exactly.
You might be sitting at a bus stop, just like prime example. You also got to remember to give blessings. Forgiveness and blessings, they kind of work hand in hand. I remember one day, and I know it was God talking to me all day, and there's certain things that I do now because of this particular incident. I had a gold dollar coin, and it was on the ground under my car. I dropped it under my car, and I backed up my car to get it. And I parked my truck on the other side of the parking lot, so I didn't feel like walking back to put it in the truck. So I sat it on someone's side view mirror on their car. They left. This was probably 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. The next morning, I walked outside to smoke a cigarette. Sorry, y'all. But, and it was a $50 bill laying on the ground. It wasn't folded. It wasn't balled up. It wasn't crinkled. It was laying flat on the ground by my driver door. I didn't have no $50 bills on me. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have cash on me. All my cash was on my car. So I didn't lose it. And it was windy. There wasn't a reason for that $50 bill to still be there. Now, what I also do, so y'all thinking, oh, you just put $1 on somebody's car, you got $50 back, that don't sound like this, that sound like this. No, because I work at a restaurant, so I give away food to the homeless people every day. When I'm walking down the street, I used to be homeless, so I understand it. They come ask me for $1, I give them $5 if I got it. And it's not about what they do with it once you give it to them. Because God see what you did it for. Doesn't matter what they do with it once they get it. Their actions and what you give them don't stop your blessings from being returned. So always bless people. Just like, it's okay to give a woman a compliment. Oh, you're beautiful today. Leave it at that. Let her say thank you. You never know. She might have contemplated suicide that day.
Yeah.
Give her a compliment. It don't have to be money. It don't have to be objects. Y'all objectify blessings. It doesn't have to. It could be a word. It could be a word. Oh, you're going to be okay. Yeah. I do this at work. Women come in, they come in for lunch and they order something. Oh, I only got, well, can I get, no, don't worry about it. So I write on a piece of paper, pay it forward, slide across the counter. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I only got one request for that. When you in the opportunity to bless somebody else, do so.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing from you. You ain't got to come back and ever see you again.
Right.
But
because what you give out comes back.
Yes.
I mean,
for sure.
Definitely. I mean, whether you believe in God or the universe, whatever, what you put out comes back.
Karma works both ways.
It does. It does. So for those who believe in God, the blessings that you give out come back to you. For those who believe in the universe, if you give out positivity and light, that's what you're going to get back. If you give out negativity and darkness, that's what you're going to get. In other words, you reap what you sow. I mean, it's for real. And, like I told Jose, the whole thing with forgiveness, the fact that we were able to forgive each other. And I actually, we were laughing in the church yesterday at the number of people who were asking us, oh, are y'all back together? And blah, blah, blah. No, we are both single, okay? Both of us single. I'm not looking. He ain't looking.
I don't want no smoke.
I'm good. The church got me working. Okay, that's why he's here, because we were up in here. He was working on the windows outside, tearing out, riding wood, and I was inside painting and cleaning. And Lord have mercy, the struggle real. Like our son said, "What? This church gonna be death of me." No, the church gonna be death of us. It ain't gonna be death of him because he was just chilling. But at the hotel room.
I'll put it to you like this: what you see here between us two is called growth.
Growth. Exactly.
That's what this is.
And for those of you who are mad at your baby daddies and your ex-husbands or your soon-to-be ex-husband or whatever that person is, you know what? Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was never mad at Jose. I mean, I went through my bouts of anger, but I refused to stay there. When he got arrested and went to prison, was I angry? Yes, I was, especially when God called me to go to seminary. I mean, it was like, are you sure you're talking to me, God? Because, I'm a single parent right now. I don't have any help. And I mean, seminary cost me $60,000, $60,000 that I did not have. But I'm here to tell you, God made a way. He took care of me. And, it's not like he just told me to go to any old seminary. He sent me to, one that was a little expensive. He sent me to Mercer University. So, but God made a way. But I did a lot of work on myself during that time because I took my call to ministry very seriously. And I couldn't get up here every Sunday and tell people to forgive and, how good God is. But I was harboring ill feelings towards my ex-husband. I couldn't do that. I needed God to deal with me first. And it was a process. It didn't happen overnight, period.
Nothing. You can't put this in the microwave.
It ain't microwave popcorn, y'all.
This ain't no. You can't microwave this out your life. You have to work.
It's that old-fashioned popcorn. You put that grease on the stove. You put the curtain, and you gotta keep shaking it.
And you sitting there waiting, anticipation for that first kernel to pop.
Ooh, he be like, ooh, there go kernel. Ooh, thank you, Lord. There goes some popcorn.
Then it pops. See, once you start popping, then you keep going.
You keep going, right? It's a process.
Now it's now that snowball effect. There's a downward spiral and there's an upward spiral. Once you start down, it's hard to get that ball to stop. It's also hard to get that ball to stop once you get it going uphill.
Yeah.
When you can get it, and then you get it uphill and get it on a level playing field. Now you're talking. But it's gonna be work. I don't know why y'all scared of work. I don't know what it is. Like that 4-letter word causes more problems for people than anything I know.
Yes, Lord.
Work.
Literally and symbolically.
Yes. That word causes more problems for people than anything.
It does.
And I don't want to do this. Well, what do you want to do? Nothing. Well,
I just wanted to pop up. I want God to bless me now. Snap my fingers and it's there. I don't want to go through nothing.
Learn yourself. One thing I learned about me is I don't argue with people no more.
Oh, come on now.
I don't.
Oof.
I don't argue with people no more. I let you do what you do. I might get in my feelings about it, but I ain't exchanging no words with you. Yeah,
It's a waste of energy.
I'm gonna probably go in my truck and probably beat the steering wheel or something or anything, but I'm not gonna argue with you. I ain't got the time. That's too much energy.
Yeah.
I remember days me and Bridget argued for 2 or 3 days, and we slept for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
For real.
We were younger.
Yeah, we were younger, so imagine now.
Yeah.
That argument probably wouldn't last 30 minutes. Oh, you know what?
30
Don't worry
minutes.
about it.
15.
Don't even worry about it. I'm good.
I'm ready to go sleep.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm hungry now. I can't
All right, what you cook?
Right. Nah, I'm good. Like, I work with people at work that just don't like me for no reason. I come here, I do my job to the best of my ability. I done got 3 raises in a year, so I'm doing something right.
Right.
These people come in the door. Oh, he need to go. Okay, well, one lady put her finger in my face. The cook put her finger in my face. I don't know what the F you told. Well, I'll go for a walk. When you figure that out, then you talk to the boss about that, because it ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
You know,
Forgiveness.
So, yeah, like
Forgiveness.
I can be mad all day. I can be mad about it now. You disrespect me by putting your finger in my face. But I disrespect myself more by sitting out here acting a fool with you.
Exactly.
I ain't doing it.
So don't be acting a fool with folks.
Yeah. Let them be who gonna win if both of y'all mad?
Exactly.
If both of y'all mad, who gonna win? Because it's either gonna be one thing. Either you gonna make it through or somebody gonna get hurt.
Exactly.
So I don't argue with people. Stop doing that. You wasting time. All you're doing is setting yourself back. Arguments are breaks. I look at arguments as breaks. When you argue with somebody, your life stops in that moment.
Right.
And that time you can't get back.
Exactly.
So
the bottom line is this. This was a process, you all. This did not happen overnight. We had some really good times when we were together, but we had some really ugly times. But God is good. When you take a look at yourself and you work on yourself and learn to forget, sometimes we're just so hard on ourselves. If we just give ourselves a little love and forgiveness, then you can start working on what you need to do with other people.
yeah, I remember you telling me that I was always my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And it was right. She was absolutely right. She said nothing wrong when she said that. I was. And some aspects I still am, but God's still working on me. I'm still a project in process. So, and I'm receptive to what it is He wants me to do. I'm still a knucklehead at times. I'm still a tad bit hard-headed. But,
And I'm still stubborn.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
I'm still stubborn, but I mean, we all act out in our flesh. And the bottom line is, when you do, one of the things that I do, my spiritual growth is I just constantly ask the Most High to help me see what's wrong in me. So, it's just amazing how when, you're acting or doing or thinking, God will reveal to you pretty quickly what it is that you need to change, what you need to work on. But you have to be humble, like he said. You have to be vulnerable.
And I'm going to backtrack a tad bit, back to karma. When we mentioned at the beginning about me cheating on her, yeah, I did that. Let me explain to you how karma worked. Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy. Well, it was done to me 100 times worse. So for those of you out there who going through hell right now, trying to figure out why, think about what you did to somebody else.
Yeah.
Think about what you did to other people. Because if you trying to make it, you've been living 20 years doing whatever to people, and then all of a sudden one day out the blue you decide, I'm gonna live right. Guess what the next 10 to 15 years gonna be like for you? Not gonna be fun. You might have a reprieve of poverty. You might have a reprieve from stress. You might have a reprieve from everybody else's BS. And you might have that moment of clarity where you in the center of the hurricane, where everything is cool. But remember, you got to go through 4 different walls. You got to go through the outside wall, the inside wall of the inner eye, the other side of the wall of the inner eye, and the outside wall that's finna pass over you now, because right now you're looking up at a clear sky. Not knowing that, it's finna come again. Think about what you did to other people. Think about what you do to other people. Think about what you're going to do to somebody, because it could be easily done to you.
Yeah.
If not worse. Because I thought I might have ran Bridget through a ringer, but look here. I was stirred, chopped, fried, fricasseed, and thrown out to sea and told I don't really give a damn about you. So I caught it
You
way
just
worse.
cursed in the church.
Yeah, man, damn is in the Bible. 7 times.
We keeping it real, y'all. Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
But yeah, be careful what you do to people.
Yeah. Because karma's real. I mean, it is really real.
And if you thinking, oh, well, you know, I prayed for this and I prayed for that, and you still get slapped in the face and ran over by 18 wheels and hit by all 18 wheels, and you still trying to figure out why life ain't fair. It wasn't born fair. When you was born, life wasn't fair. When you die, life still ain't gonna be fair. You gotta take life by the horns, but taking life by the horns don't mean running over people. That don't mean hurting people because you feel like you can, or because somebody hurt you. Now you got to pass that hurting energy on to somebody else, and then wonder why you can't get out that hole. Change the way you treat people. If you're treating people good and you still getting bad apples, keep treating people good, because that tree gonna start to grow better fruit.
Right.
But if you keep planting these old dirty seeds in the ground and think you're supposed to get a nice, beautiful golden apple tree, good luck with that one. I ain't got no advice on that one. You just walking a blind line. And I ain't say fine, I said blind line. So good luck with that, staying straight. Not gonna happen. You got to be conscious. You can't just walk around in a subconscious cloud. You got to be conscious of what you're doing, what you say. Like me personally, I used to have a real foul mouth. I still kind of do. I didn't care what I said to people.
He just cussed in the church.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a real foul mouth.
Yeah, he was sarcastic too, y'all.
Yeah.
It's narcissist. Okay, narcissist to the 10th degree.
Grade A.
Arrogant.
Grade A1 a-hole.
Oh, for. And look, and I was always the type, I had to have the last say so. And so it was just like boom, boom, boom. But you know what? I got to say this. I know we were supposed to be talking about forgiveness, but and this video is much longer than I wanted it to be, but this will keep us from having to do another one, because I was going to actually break it up in 2 parts, but we can now just keep it as one video. For women, when he just admitted about his infidelity, a lot of times women, we feel like we've done something wrong when a man cheats, or vice versa. Y'all feel like y'all have done something wrong when a woman cheats on y'all. But stop looking at why the other person has committed the infidelity. Sometimes it's not you, okay? Sometimes people do cheat because you just get on their freaking nerves and they don't want to be around you. But I'm talking about just, when there's a repetition in a cycle, sometimes the infidelity occurs because it's something lacking in them. And they're trying to fill that void by, putting other people in there. So it's not anything directed towards you. It's really something with them.
Because you could be doing everything right.
Right.
You're doing everything right.
Right. And I'm not saying that I did everything right in the marriage, but I mean, I did all I knew to do at that stage in my life.
I'm going to go ahead and say it was me. It had nothing to do with you. It was all me. Because I remember a particular question you asked me that disturbed me, and I wanted to tell you then, but I'm not going to repeat that question. But no, it wasn't you.
Yeah.
It wasn't you. It was, how can I put it? I was living ancestral negativities, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And generational curses are real. They're very, very real. But you can't fight what you don't understand. You can't fight what you don't know is there. And just like, Jose had his generational curses, I had mine as well. And, but when you recognize what things are, then you know how you need to deal with them. And so that will be a whole nother topic on how to break generational curses. Because, and for those of you who don't know, I do house cleansings, I do exorcisms. One of the few, I really don't know of any AME preacher that openly says that they do exorcisms, but I've done some. And, gone into some houses to get some evil spirits out. I mean, I tell people all the time, we truly battle against not flesh and blood, but principalities, and that is real. Okay, so when your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend is acting crazy and you don't know why, stop looking at it from a physical perspective and look at it from a spiritual
Saying
eye.
that they're crazy.
Right.
First off, you're talking. If you can define the word crazy, then you can use it in the general text. Outside of that, stop calling people crazy.
Right.
People aren't crazy. People, they might have mental issues. You don't know what those mental issues come from.
Exactly.
You don't know what happened to them to make them crazy.
Right. And even if they are, quote, crazy, even that is of a demonic spirit, because God didn't create us to be sick. He created us to have everything that we need and to be in perfect health and even never to get old. But sin has made all of these things come into being. So, you know, it is what it is. But I just hope that, you know, what we shared helps somebody who is going through relationship issues, you know, not being able to forgive the other person, you know, just harboring anger. Because, you know, we just in a place now, it's like, you know, we co-parent the best that we can. I'm in one state, he's in another. But it's just no ill feelings. And I mean, to me, it's more important that we present a true unified front for our son, because you know how kids are, they try to play you against each other when you're not together. Okay. And so he and I had a talk early on that we would always, you know, talk about what we needed to do pertaining to our son, because we didn't, you know, we both want what's best for Jalen, and our relationship and our, you know, departure of the marriage had nothing to do with our child. I understand that everybody that's watching this may not be in a position of where you are ready to forgive, ready to sit down and have that shadow work done on yourself. But, you know, we hope and pray that you will, that this will inspire you to do the work on yourself and to do the work with your partner. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time, but it is possible. Okay, it's not impossible. With God's help, you can do it, but you have to start with yourself first.
If you woke up this morning, you can do anything.
Amen. God has given you another day to get it right.
Yep.
All right. So hopefully you all have enjoyed this chit chat with Reverend Bridge and Jose. And till next time, you all stay safe. Keep your mask on, please, and be blessed.
Everybody have a good one.